Like, whoa.
Iron sharpening iron, hit a spark when we speak. Stronger together, yeah, we building each week. Each one reach one, now the whole world know. Big Jack story time, Walt Toss, let's go.
All right. Welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. This is my man, Walt Talks. And this is where we prove that we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And I am super excited because, one, it's March 1st. We're already in March. It's hard to believe in 2026, we're already in March. And that means we're starting a whole new month with every episode, everything that falls under the Iron Sharpening Iron universe is going to be afresh. So we got the Ladies Diary coming up Wednesday. We already coming with our first episode of the Iron Sharpening Iron show for the month of March. And I mean, it's just like, wow. So I'm excited. So Walt, what's going on with you, man? How you doing?
Well, one, I haven't touched my golf club since February. So, and I started my motorcycle up yesterday. Took a spin, put about 160 miles on it, so that was fun. And I have a tee time set up for Thursday, so I'm excited, man. It was 69, 70 no, 60, 69, I guess, yesterday. And but it's going to be cold again tomorrow, and then hopefully by the end of the week we'll get into some decent
I
weather,
looked at
man.
the report and I saw 70 on there. I was like,
Yeah,
wow, I need to get my clubs back out. I haven't. Shoot, I don't even know the last time I even pulled them out, but I'm excited because we're in the state of Maryland, and anybody know the state of Maryland? It's a southern state that's in the north. So for those who don't know, Maryland is a southern state, but it's in the north. If you want to look at it that way, so we don't know what the weather is going to be like on a day-to-day basis. It could be 79 and snowing all at the same time, so we don't know what we're going to get. So we just get ready for it, and that's the reality of it right there. But I know you starting that motorcycle up because you're getting ready to take your cross country trip, right?
Yeah, we're gonna head cross country. Hopefully, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We're gonna leave out of here around Labor Day. So be excited, and from DC to California and back. So
wow,
be gone about a month.
So for the people out there, the people out there, what type of bike do you ride? I mean, are you in a what is it? Honda?
I got a 50cc scooter. I'm a Harley guy. I got a Road Glide dresser, so with the shark front. If you're in the motorcycle, if you're not in the motorcycles, it's the one that looks like not the bat wing, but looks like the shark's nose on the front. And getting ready to do that, man. Of course, you go to the Harley shop yesterday, and the first thing they want to try to do is sell your new motorcycle.
Right.
And all the bells and whistles, every year they just hold enough stuff back to make you want to buy a new one. So I'm about 3-4 years into this one.
Right.
Probably figure put about 10,000-15,000 miles on it on this trip, and maybe 10. And hopefully, man, my next bike, it'll last me, and then my next bike might have 3 wheels on it because I'm getting up there. Who knows, But
I was going to say that right there because I have never in my life rode or drove. I guess you say drove a motorcycle. Okay. I've never drove a motorcycle. Yeah. And I was like, at this time in my life, if I'm going to do it, it's going to have 3 wheels.
Oh, man.
If not 4.
Here's the funny part, man. All my guys, diehard guys, been riding with for the last 30 years, I guess. And, now that we're at that age, man, I'm in my 60s. I'm 62. So, 2 of the guys have already converted their bikes into trikes, Okay. So now I just laugh at them, man, because I'm like, man, now we're the old guys in the group. I mean, I remember when we used to laugh at guys. Oh, man, a trike, man, what are you doing? And now guys are jumping on 3 wheels, man, so they can keep riding. You don't stop riding because you get old. You get old because you stop riding. So you got to keep riding. Yeah, keep pushing. But right now, 2 wheels is fine. I'm getting it in, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Right. Well, look, 100%. we got an amazing show coming out today, man. Yes. And I'm super excited. I want to thank the source right now for dropping those members out there. So, and let's go and grow. So the sources out there. I see Anthony My Time is in the chat. So I wanted to say hello to 2 of those super supporters that's out there hanging with us and putting their names out there. Yes, we always, we're always talking about how we're stronger together, and that just it's not about it. It's not a talk. And this is not a show. This is a mission. This is a movement. And I'm thanking them for their support. But on the other side of that, we got a wonderful, wonderful guest today. And I'm so excited about getting our guests up on the stage today. A lot of great conversations going to pop up out of here. So if you okay, I'm okay. Let's get her up on the stage.
Let's get to it. Let's get her on stage.
There we go. All right. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. There she is right there. Angelina, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you for invite to the show. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for being a guest on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I am your man, Big Jack. Story time. This is my co-host, or I want to say he's the other host. Walt Talks up here.
Co-host.
That's what we call. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
The other guy. I'm the other guy.
So, and this is where we prove that we are stronger together, and that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. Letting you know right now, we are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, live on Twitch. And then once this is all said and done, we will cut this clips out of this, everything that you say, and put it on Instagram and any other social media platform, except for me, no TikTok. So, and I will explain that one day when somebody asks me. No one's asking me, so we all good. So with all that being said, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm Angelina Mojica. I'm a certified family life educator, trauma-informed leader, and an associate vice president for a children's ministry here in South Carolina. For over a decade, I've worked in foster care and community-based systems, dedicating my career to helping children, families, and leaders heal from inside out. I'm also the founder of Empower Her Steps, a faith-centered initiative designed to help women break generational cycles and step into restoration, identity, and purpose. And then, of course, I am a mother of 3 adult children, a grandmother of 3 beautiful babies, an advocate, and a podcast host. And everything I teach is rooted not only in professional experience, but also in lived experience. And so today I'm just here to share how survival can turn into stewardship and how wholeness truly changes everything.
Wow. I mean, that's very powerful right there, everything you said. So I'm definitely, I'm not going to say shocked, but I was not expecting a grandmother and adult parents. I mean, you look almost like a young lady who's got a lot going on, and you're still young, and I won't take that away, but it's just the fact that they say looks can be deceiving, but no, they vary. So thank you for even sharing that part, and I was not seeing that. I'm more intrigued because I, at one time in my career, in my life, was a foster parent. So, but I never took it to the ministry level. So what came first, the ministry or the fostering? Which one came first for you?
Oh, that is a good question, because I feel the career came first. I didn't realize I was stepping into a ministry until later on in my career. So I've been doing child welfare for the past 13 years. But it started like this. I started as a child protective service worker. And there was this one boy that had made such an imprint in my life that he spun my career. I was doing a removal because, you know, those things can get tough sometimes. And he was placed with some family friends who just on a Saturday, they were at a hospital. He was having a meltdown and they just realized they couldn't do it anymore. So they called me. I'm his worker. I go pick him up from the hospital. We're headed off to the office, and I get all the paperwork together because I have to find a new place for him, get the affidavit ready, judge signatures, all the approvals and all that stuff going. And it was hard because he was 10 years old and he had some really big behaviors that scared some people. And it was hard to find something local to just a home to open up and say, yeah, you know, we'll take them. So I'm from Texas originally. And when I found a shelter that would take him in, it was in Waco, Texas, which was about a 6 to 7 hour drive from where I'm located. And it was later in the afternoon. So by the time we got everything signed and dotted and all those things, he reached around my waist with tears in his eyes and was like, please don't take me. I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. And at that moment, it just hit me in my heart, almost like when you're watching a movie and they get that zoomed in look of aha. And I just realized how systems were not perfect. And I realized I wasn't doing God's work in that moment. And I just went to the Lord after that. And I said, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. The system has failed his mother because she was still struggling with addiction. And it also has failed him at 10 years old, being in and out of foster care. I needed something else. And that's when the Lord guided me to foster care. And I started working with foster parents and foster children through another organization, faith-based organization. And in that, he really started working with me in my leadership. He started to mold a lot of the characteristics that I have today, and a lot of my platform as well too.
No, and that amazing story, and it's so familiar. You hear it a lot, I like I say, being in the system as far as a foster parent and things like that, and working with different caseworkers that come to the house. And one of the things that really, so I'm gonna ask you this: as a caseworker, did you already have your kids, or were you a caseworker with no kids? So, and that's what I saw a lot: the caseworkers with no kids. So, and not being all personal in your business, but I just it intrigues me on what's going on. What came first on that one?
Yeah, so I was well in my 30s when I became a social worker. And so I had my children. They were pretty young. My youngest was probably 5 years old at the time when I stepped into this profession. My daughter, I remember, was 11, and my oldest was just starting middle school. So yeah, I have kids. Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things that always we thought was so wild when we come, a caseworker comes to the house and telling us about a kid, or we're telling them about a kid, and they were saying this and this, and we're like, "Do you have any kids?" No, like we can't have this conversation. You like you don't even know what we're talking about here. We're telling you what's going on with this kid, and these are the things you should be looking for and looking at. And they like, I have no clue. It's not. No one wrote that in the book, so I don't know what you're talking about. And so that bothered me as a foster parent because, and I've said this on the show before, and I'm just saying, I know we're not sticking on foster parent, but I'm saying that I had to take classes to be a foster parent. I had to go through all this training to be a foster parent, and I'm like, to be a parent, you just had to have sex. And it's like, that's not, we got this thing all turned around backwards. We got it so twisted around where if you find out that you are expecting, we do gender reveals and have these big parties and popping balloons all outside. You should make them go to class. This is what it's like to be a parent. And these are the things you're going to face, because a lot of times it's not the kid. It wasn't the kid. And we've given them some bad habits and bad things. And then when you're placing a kid and moving a kid from house to house and house, one thing I said, that every child that moved from one house to another house, they gain 5 years on their life. So even though you have a kid that might be 10, because of the placements, they're really like 15. And if they move them again, now they're like 20. So now it's like, I can't handle me, because this person has had to adjust from 3 to 4 different homes and rules and people and this and that. That's not a 10-year-old that you're looking at. That's not a 10-year-old. That is a grown person that's now, pretty much given up on the system. And sometimes, and then when you find that, like you say, now they're hugging your waist and they're ready, you see the child is still inside. That had to be hard because of where I'm placed and what I've been going through. I can't be soft, but I am soft, and I'm a kid. And it's like, man, they miss out on that. So thank you for your service as a case worker, because that is a hard job, and I appreciate you for doing it. And then you said it led you into the ministry, so it got you to a point. So a lot of people don't understand that ministry. So what is the ministry that you're in when it's dealing with kids on that level?
Yeah, the ministry of identity. So removing false identity, because through life experiences that they have faced, it whispers something into their belief system, whether that's I'm not good enough, or the world's not safe, or I'm never going to be loved. Like all of that is false identity. And so they build a perspective on that of who they are, and it goes into how they think about themselves, which then turns into how they feel about themselves, then turns into how they behave. So a behavior, which then ultimately turns into a habit. And that's why you see so many dysfunctional relationships from people with hard past, because of this identity. And I can say that being a child from a hard place. So not only did I want to do this in my career, but it was also something that my life guided me to. And if you want to know more about that, I can share it as well. But it really is what hit me and spun me into this career was my own life.
Right. Yeah. That's again, we have over the years have made hard lives or troubled homes like they're normal. It's like it's normal. That's normal. It's not until I became an adult then seen some other homes. I'm like, none of this was normal. That was not normal to be in this situation or to live like this or to do things like that. That was not normal. And so thank you again. I don't know how many ways to say thank you for what you've already are doing. So, but now you also said, and I'm going off the bio too, that you say healing begins in relationship.
Mhm.
And so, help me understand that. What do you mean that healing begins in relationship?
Yeah. So when I say healing begins in relationship, I'm speaking as a woman who has been hurt in relationships, as a leader who has spent over a decade walking alongside children whose first experiences of love, and we talked about that earlier, were inconsistent and unsafe. Most of our wounds didn't happen in isolation. They happen in homes, in marriages, in systems, and in silence. So I really look at the scripture. And so this is where I've started to build my ministry and looking at scripture and going Psalms 68:6. God sets the lonely in families. And that just hits for me because when we're looking at helping heal, if it breaks in a relationship, it has to mend in a relationship. And so that's what I'm talking about, because we are here to restore us through connections. That's what God's purpose is to restore us through connection. So when I watched my own daughter walk through a domestic violent relationship as a teenager, I realized I couldn't lecture her into healing. I had to become someone steady and regulated, a presence that was going to be there to catch her when she fell, pick her back up. And I had to model what safe love looked like.
Wow. And that's a love that a lot of people don't hear sometimes. It's safe love. I like that word that you use. It's that safe love. And we talked about it, those who like, what? I ain't hearing nothing about love. That was behind the stage before we got on. So if you didn't know, we were talking about love, but we were talking about love and how it's it's needed. It's needed in the relationship. But one of the big things that I'm a believer of, and with that is you have to learn to love yourself. You have to learn to love yourself to the point that I'm not going to allow someone to do that to me. I love myself too much to allow that person to come against me and all. And it's not easy. It isn't easy because then I have to love myself to trust somebody else, because that's another thing. Like I say, even though you gave your daughter a safe place, it became that safe love for her to go to. She has to still believe enough in herself that I deserve to be in a safe place. I deserve to be around someone who's going to help me and nourish me. Or it's weird. It's so weird, and how you can get caught up in that where domestic violence or any type of violence, any type of abuse of anything, because I know you've seen a lot when you're dealing with the families and the children and the homes. Because as a caseworker, you would have to go into homes and look at their living conditions and listen to, I don't say the lies, but the stories all sound good when you're there. But then you got to read between the lines as you're looking at the kid with the tears in their eyes and no smile on their faces, the parents saying everything is great. And I'm like, wow, okay, everything's not great in here. And that's got to be tough. So how can I show that you are safe with me? You know, that I'm not going to hurt you, because in the ministry, even when so maybe I'm just rambling. I don't want to ramble. If the kids are coming to you So is it like a church? Is it a center? Is it a how do you get in touch with the kids? How does your ministry, how's it
Yeah.
molded?
So I work for a residential facility here in South Carolina, and so I help lead. I'm helping lead the initiative. We're trying to create a healing center here. So I'm surrounded. I live on campus, so I'm surrounded by children. I help in every way, every capacity that I can. But I want to go back a little bit to what you were talking about, because safe love, and I know you shared a little bit about being a foster parent. And one thing that I thought was a eye opener is when I started to train parents to become licensed foster parents. And one of the things that I would hear from them is, well, I just want to love the children and I want them to be safe. But we're talking about trauma. And so it's kind of like an onion. You have to peel back all these layers. And that's what trauma does, is it builds a core, a belief system for a child, whether that's, I can't trust anybody because I've been hurt by the people that are supposed to care for me, or I can't love anybody because nobody loves me, whether that's the neglect that's talking to them. And when you place them in a foster home with a foster parent that's like, I just want to love them and let them be safe, you hit the nail on the head when you said it's not normal. They're not coming from a place where they truly understand the definition behind safety. What does that mean to them? They've never experienced safety. They've never lived safety. They don't understand safety. And so for you to sit there and go, I love you and I want you to be safe, they're going to reference what they know about love. They're going to reference what they know about safety. And there may not be a definition there. And so it's hard. It is hard. And through repetition. So that's the thing, is like the repetition has to take place. You have to be consistent. You have to be reliable, and you have to show up even when it's painful, even when it's hard, even when you're crying at night and praying to God. Like you have to continue and continue and continue. And it's hard work. I mean, you definitely have to be called to that. So when I show up for kids, that's what I'm showing up for. I'm in the middle of it all. I can sit there and tell a kid, you're beautiful, you're loved, this, that, and the other. But until I can tap into that inner voice that they carry with them, they're not going to believe anything. And so I show up every day. I try to be consistent. I try to be that repetitive voice of encouragement and inspiration. And, when I pray over them, I pray over them, their families, and everything, because at the end of it all, they do want to go back to their homes.
And that right there, and I'm sure people that's listening, and we thank you for tuning in to the Iron Sharpening Iron show. But right there is right there. They want to go back. So I don't care what you're doing. It's like, it's okay. It was all right where I was at. I just want to go back to the home I know. I want to go back to the mom, the dad, whoever. And it could have been the worst condition in our minds, but in their mind, that is home. That is where my safety was. That's where my relaxation was. And then you can't bash. So as a foster parent, that was one of the big things. Not that we was out to try to bash their parent, but it was one of those things where it's like, you had to be very careful on what you said. You had to be very careful on how you acted, because of the fact that child, you can't bash that child's parent. That we know growing up, Walt could tell growing up, you said something about my mom, we in a fight. It's
we
fight
got
time now.
We got live action for sure.
What you say about my mother?
Yeah,
and so
100%.
and that's what happens when you go to a kid comes into your home and all, and you can't say, well, your mom this or your mom, because that's that kid's mom. And nobody wants to hear that madness coming out your mouth, a stranger. And because again, prove to me that you're not just doing it for the money. Prove to me that you really do care about me. Prove to me, because just as fast as you in my house, they might move me and put me in another home. And it's like, and that was one of the hardest parts for me, is when the child left the home, because as a foster parent, unlike a caseworker, you don't know anything else about them. That's it. The case ends, it closed. And it was like, wow. So you wonder what happened. How did the story end? And this, and you don't know. And that was one of the hardest things as a foster parent, when the child left my home and we had no clue on how the story ended. So, but again, it wasn't normal. Normal to them is not the Huxtables or the Leave It to Beaver show and all of that. It was chaos, and that was it. I remember, and I'm gonna share this with you, just a story, but I remember having a young lady in our house, and I had to go to work, and so that morning my wife is fixing breakfast, and the young lady, she was probably 6 years old, I think, and she asked my wife, "So where's the daddy guy?" Because she's like, she know that I was there when she went to bed, but I'm not there when he got home. And she explained we had to go to work. Oh, okay, okay. But she was looking for that husband and wife or mom and dad, da da da. And that was her mind of how it's supposed to be. And I wasn't there. But she asked, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that she's looking for, in their mind what they're supposed to look like. And that's because she didn't have that prior to coming to us, but that's what she was looking for. All right. So yeah. Walt, you got anything for me right now?
Man, I'm just it always amazes me because everything you mentioned, Angelina, uh, just kids in general, even one parent, two parent households with finances, means that are functional, for lack of a better word, they are still looking for the same thing. Then you take a kid and put him or her in foster care, and it's like it's times 10. As far as wow, what happens from here? But you mentioned that you have a facility. You're in a residential facility, and even with that, I'm in a neighborhood. In my neighborhood, uh, I've had a residential facility for youth and special needs adults. So even the community sometimes doesn't appreciate the fact that this is going on in their community. It's like not in my backyard situation. So uh, where you are, it sounds like it's how many people are we talking about? Is this a home? Is this a school? Is it, how does that work?
Yeah, so the agency that I work for, I mean, they've been in existence for 133 years.
Wow.
So they went from the orphanage mindset where back in the time where dads were going off to war and mom had to work and there's 7 8 kids in a home, they would come and leave some of their children here to be raised, because not because of trauma, not because they didn't want
Hmm.
their children, just because they couldn't afford to feed them. There
Wow.
were moms trying to raise children while dad's at war and then maybe dies or something, and so they had to make
Hmm.
tough choices. So that's what started this organization, and then now as I step into it, we are trying to move it forward from that mindset of an orphanage into more of a healing center. And the idea behind that is to help children heal their hearts while also healing generational cycles. So becoming more of a community preservation residential center. So we have about 8 cottages here that can house up
Okay.
to 8 children at a time.
Hmm.
And they're two parent homes in the sense that sometimes we have a married couple in there parenting 7 days on, 7 days off, or we have some individuals that are called to this job, and so we'll partner them up together and they'll parent that home 7 days on and 7 days off. So we have 2 different shifts. But they work with our students, and we have them as young as 5 years old up to 18 years of age. Different backgrounds, different situations, and then working with parents in that other part of keeping them connected to their children, helping them connect to resources so that they're receiving their healing too, while we're helping with the child here, all in hopes to reunify within like a 12 to 18 month time frame.
So you mentioned 13 years in the business, so
Yeah.
to speak, in this profession. So you've had the luxury of having kids come back to you. You've seen the success stories time and time again. So has anyone taken the road that you traveled and kind of walked down this professional road, this in this profession, or how does that go?
So success looks different to different people. I love
Hmm.
this question. So I have worked with foster children, but I've also done some preservation work. So not only did I work for Child Protective Services as a caseworker at one point,
Hmm.
But then I became a foster care worker working with foster parents and foster children, and then went over to help more on a community side, working with moms that had open cases with the department in keeping their children. So giving education and parenting and coaching and those things. And that I loved because I really wanted the family to stay intact. It's not in best interest for a child to end up in foster care at all.
Right.
So I did have this one young lady who was probably about 24 at the time. She had 2 babies and she had an open case. And we were talking in my office, and she was just like, you know what? I don't know why my caseworker wants me to do these women's empowerment classes, because I'm not getting beat up in my relationships. I don't need women's empowerment. And then that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my God. She was like, you don't understand what women's empowerment is. It's not just coming out of, abusive relationships. It's also knowing who you are truly and empowering yourself to be independent and make your own decisions and not having to rely on others, but also to being empowered in your life choices and your career and so many other things. And that's what spun my Empower Her Steps momentum and initiative. And I still keep in touch with this young lady. So she did get her children back. She still struggles from time to time because she'll call me and she'll ask me questions about relationships. But I think that's successful because she knows that I'm there for her. Even though we're miles and miles away, she'll still say, hey, I've got this new boyfriend and this is what's going on. What do you think? And we'll talk about it. And so I'm still kind of coaching her in that sense, but she now has someone to call on when she does have questions and stuff. So I think that's a success because she's now in this awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'm seeing at the underneath your name, it says founder of Empower Her Steps.
Empower Her Steps.
Yeah. Explain more detail of what that is. You found it. So is this an organization? This is a club? What's going on with this?
Yeah, no, it is my nonprofit. So Empower Her Steps. Her is an acronym for Heal, Elevate, Rebuild. And that is something that comes from my own breaking and rebuilding, to be very transparent. I saw women inspired but not integrated, motivated but not healed. I mean, that was me for sure. And so just kind of looking at the Bible verse, what is it? Joel 2:25, what says, I will restore the years the locusts have eaten. I believe that's what it says. That verse is the heartbeat of Empower Her Steps, because it's about restoration. It's about identity, breaking generational cycles, moving from survival to stewardship. And it requires the participation of healing, courage, and community. And so that's what it is for me, because I didn't realize I needed that when I was in the midst of my own survival story. And it wasn't until I started working in my career that I realized, and after that conversation, that I realized, oh, wow, community is so vital in the healing process, especially when you're gathered with people that can be like-minded and encouraging and helping lift you up. It helps with the transformation for sure.
So you're helping people, but people don't realize they're helping you just as much, huh?
It really is. It's a full circle, and it's such a beautiful thing that I've seen happen. And I started the organization back in October of 2022, and it's still going pretty strong. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Now, and that is awesome because of the fact that help me understand, I guess, is saying the restoring, because you said that's from the scripture and all. So I know I went through a lot, and now you're helping me come out of it. You're helping me heal. You're helping me recover. And I know I can't get back what I lost, but that's what it says. I'm gonna restore to you the years. So how do we get those years back? What can I do to get that back?
Yeah. So if you really look at it, you go from a wounded identity to a restored identity, from surviving to surrender, from reactive to purpose driven lifestyle. So that's what it means to me in that scripture is I'm going to bring back to you all that you've lost, because when you can step out of that survival mode, then you're no longer losing anything. You're no longer a victim. You are able to take control of your life and start steering it. And so then you start rebuilding. And that's the R in her for Empower Her Step, is that rebuilding. You get to elevate and then start rebuilding. And so then that's where everything is restored back to you. Because if you think about it, when we heal, we break those generational things, because then our children are healed. And if you're, in leadership or whatever career, that becomes healing too in relationship, and your legacy shifts.
No, thank you. That's awesome. They did. So thank you for that. Because I think a lot of times you're thinking that I'm gonna get back, and he did. Like I say, I lost my joy. Now I have my joy. I lost my peace, and now I have my peace. So it's not that you had to go back and do it over again and walk that walk again. I'm not going, but it's like all those little things that you might have missed, all those little things that was there prior to this relationship or prior to that situation. I'm putting it back in place. And now like I said, you're in control. You're rebuilding it. I've been in a house fire before, a house burned down to the ground, and then watch them rebuild the house. The memories are there. You know what it was like before the house was rebuilt. But the fact that now the house is rebuilt and things we still got a roof over our head and the walls are sturdy and all of this. And it might have some new bells and whistles, and it looks different than it did before. But I know that I'm safe now. I'm in a safe place, in a safe spot. So that is pretty cool. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for explaining that to me. So you also do podcasts, I hear. Yeah. So you're a podcaster. So tell us about that experience and how does that work for you and what's going on?
Yeah, that's been a fun experience, honestly. I started back when COVID hit, and I just got tired of scrolling all the woes me, what are we going to do in the world, this, and, I'm not going to survive isolation. And I just thought, how boring. I mean, I don't want to continue to read these things, because, what you absorb tends to fill your brain and your mind and your thoughts. And so I said, you know what, we need some encouraging words out there. We need some just inspiration. And I said, well, might as well start with me. And so that's what I did. I got behind the camera one day. I talked about filling my cup, and it just spun from there. It used to be just me behind the camera giving like little, hey, I watched my son play basketball games, but how many times in life do you sit back on the sideline and watch the game when you could be participating? And just would do like little life ahas that I would have. And then here recently, within the past couple of years, I started to invite people onto the show and talk about different things. Right now, we're talking about the fruits of the Spirit and how that is something that we walk through our own challenges with and whatnot, and that's been such a delightful conversation with many of my guests on the show.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. You do a lot. Hey, Jack, you ever get the feeling you just haven't done enough with your life, man?
Every time we get a guest on the show and they tell us all the things they're doing, it's like, man, where was I and what was we doing? So.
Hey, man, the thing that's going through my brain right now is one time at band camp. That's all I got.
Yeah.
One time at band camp, I did X, Y, and Z. That's all I got right now.
That's it.
But I admire anyone. I admire you for finding your purpose. I'm still looking to see what I want to do when I grow up. I found my purpose in my career. I'm retired, and every day I'm experiencing things, just trying to figure out that thing that I would do for free, that thing that wakes me up in the morning. And you and like Big Jack and B, of course, and Davina, they all have that thing, and I haven't found it yet. That's sustainable. It'll be cool for a minute, but to sustain it. And then the answer may be just basically the journey. Enjoy the journey. And that's where I am right now in my life. But I always admire people, especially in retirement, who have that, because that's pretty cool. That's that's a blessing. I mean, just your face is just it just radiates every time you talk about what you do, and that's an incredible thing. And a lot of people go through their lives and never experience that. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
salute you for that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
All right. For those who are out there watching, of course, this is the Iron Sharpening Iron show. And it was mentioned the fruit of the spirit. So if you're not familiar with the fruits of the spirit, we're not going to go and do a Bible study lesson today and all, but you might want to check it out because it is. So don't be sitting there thinking they're apple, oranges, peaches, and all that. Those are not of the fruits of the spirit. But and check it out. So you'll go to Galatians 5. So Galatians 5 will definitely put you in the right direction. I think it starts with verse 22, but then you go through and you'll get your fruits, because those are the things that if you put those pieces and all those pieces together inside of you, and if you can stack one on top of the other, really as they fall under each other, you'll feel how wonderful you feel about it because of the fruits of the spirit and all of that. So just sharing that moment, because this is the Iron Sharpening Iron show, and they just threw that big piece out there that's going to make us stronger, make us better people, and that really don't have to be better for anybody else but yourself, and that's going
So
to make
right.
you better for yourself. So right there. So I'm out. I'm having a good time with our guest because she's got a lot going on. So how do your kids feel about? I know they're not kids anymore.
Yeah.
They're adults. So how do they feel about your mission? How do they feel about your ministry? I mean, this was going on while they was in the home too. So what was this?
Yeah, I think for the most part, they have seen my journey, my life journey, and I'm writing my book for sure. Hopefully,
Just about
get
to
it
ask
published.
about that. When is the book coming out?
But yeah, I'm in the middle of writing, and it's a hard book, so I have to write it in chunks because I have to step back because you know when you write and you go into it. But I know my oldest is 33 years old, and no, he is now 30. Yeah, 30 years old. And so he was with me for the most part of a lot of the rough stuff. So for him to see where I'm at today, he like takes delight in it, to see such a huge transformation, and it inspires them. And my daughter too. My daughter's gone through some hard stuff herself, and she loves it. They are my cheerleaders, and my youngest boy, he is the one that is like, you know what, I can do anything and all things through Christ who strengthens me, and he does. And it amazes me because even it reminds me too, like, why are you second guessing it? If he trusts, then let him go, like let him do these things. And I mean, he's the one that does it, and so he inspires me too. But when I got this calling to South Carolina, at first it was just kind of you know what, I'm going to throw my name in the hat to see what happens. And my daughter spoke this to me as I was filling out the application. She was like, "Mom, you're going to get that job. Just know that you are." And I said, "Yeah, I kind of feel it in my heart too, but we'll see what happens." And as one thing led to another, one interview led to another, it started to become more real. And I looked at my daughter, who at that time, I was just 2 grandbabies. So she had my grandbabies. And I said, "Mila, are you sure that I can go? You're not going to need me." And she's like, "Mom, you have sacrificed so much for us. Go out and fill your dreams." And I took that as God's peace in it all. And I did. And I got the job here, and I moved. And I mean, it's been nothing but blessings. It's a journey. Just because you're on God's assignment doesn't mean that hard times don't come with that. It definitely do. But I trust in Him. I lean on Him, and my kids are there, and they're rooting me on, and they're lifting me up in their own prayers as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, I know at the time going through ministry training or being a minister, they would say, if you want to see if the pastor's telling the truth, just look at his wife. Because while you're up there, look at the wife, and she's smiling. So if the parent is real, the kids, because they know you, they see you when no one else sees you. Like, you could be one person at work, but when you get home, it's like, that ain't the same person. You do all that nice stuff for these kids, we tear us up. But it's like, for them to be a supporter, meaning that you've done a good job with them, because they, it's I'm gonna support you on this mission that that you're gonna go out there with some other kids and all. So that's pretty cool, and I'm glad to hear that. And you said you're a grandparent as well, huh?
Yes.
Okay, all right. You're smiling. All right, that's cool. So tell us, if you don't mind, you get to say how many and what's the male, female, boy,
Yeah,
girl.
so I love my grandbabies. Something about being a grandparent that's so different than being a parent. And I don't know if it's because where I'm at in life that there's more time to stop and truly be like on the floor with them playing and wherever they're at, just totally present. And I think that's where some of my just parent heart was hurt a little bit in reflection, because seeing my son, my oldest, who blessed me with my third grandbaby, Atticus, Dash is his name, from To Kill a Mockingbird, if that for those that like to read.
Yeah.
So when he was born, and I was just so enthralled in the presence of this little beautiful baby boy, it just reminded me how I wish I could have been more present with my own children. But I guess as a parent, and I was a single mom for some of it, I was always on the hustle. I was always trying to, make sure that they were taken care of, things were taken care of, and I was doing all these things that I really enjoy being a grandparent, because I'm able to just be with them. And so the older two, there's Giovanni, who is 3, and Anita Rose, who is 2.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's good. Congratulations on that right there.
Seems like all grandparents have the same story, right? I mean, so that's not unusual. So don't beat yourself up. But I used to tell my mother, I'm like, this is not the same woman that raised me. No way, no how. Like, you just an old lady trying to get to heaven now. And because I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what? Like, I'm just like, how? Like, she said, well, you just were so bad, and she's just an angel. So I'm like, okay, all right, okay, all right. Yeah, as a grown man, I'm like, and she was right. I mean, I can admit it, but yeah, but still, I'm like, man, those old boy moments. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a problem. Okay, it's okay, baby, it's okay. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? So every grandparent has that story. I know I'm a much better grandparent than I was a parent, I think, as far as just understanding time. I'm established, just all those things that come in. But I was present for parenthood. But, like you said, it's just a different type of joy, because you really have a chance to kind of like a do-over, I guess, and correct some things if you need to. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And come on, let's be honest for everybody out there. And you get to send them back.
Oh, that part.
That's the best part.
Let's be honest.
I tell you what, one thing about when the grandkids come over, especially when they were younger, they got my sleeping habits up, because as soon as I put them to bed, I was done. I was done. I'm like, man. So I was just like, wow, because they just have so much energy, and they want to explore things, they want to see things and do things. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
All right, so I'm reading here, Angelina, and it was saying that you ran for school board.
Oh gosh, yes.
All right, yeah, and you were part of the community theater. So give us that part of your life. And if I'm wrong, I'm reading it, but it might not be correct. So if it is, tell us what made you go into the school board and then the community theater. So what's going on?
Oh, yeah. So working for the community the community center that I helped start through this organization, I was just always doing things in the community. So people knew me, and the school board was looking for some representation for people that were from the city, so from Lubbock, that knew about the school system, and just they were tired of the status quo and they wanted someone to challenge it. I got asked, and never ever did I think Yeah, politics. And I won't ever do it again. It's not me. It's not my calling. Uh, but I did, and really because I worked in the foster care system. There was this little girl who I helped achieve adoption, and so her mom and I worked for different nonprofit organizations. And she was like, "Oh my, my daughter is going to this school that they're closing. This, just all these things." And so I decided, you know what, I'll help. And if anything, at least I can use my voice to bring to light some of the injustice that are happening and see what we can do and kind of shake things up a little bit. And we did. It was fun. Yeah.
Wow. All right, now that's cool. Like a lot of people don't take that shot. I mean, I've been a PTA president before, and I've sat as on the school board, not as an officer on the board, but on those different committees and all. Because you should be a part. You should be active in what's going on in your community, and especially when you got kids that's in school, because you're really directing or have an influence on some of the things that they're going to be going through. And from COVID, it really came to life because virtual school, and it was like, wow, these virtual programs that a lot of kids needed that virtual program. That was like a godsend, the virtual program, because they were being bullied in school or they were being mistreated in school in hell. And now they're in a position where they're not being bullied. They're at home. They're sitting in a safe place where they could just be online and then you turn the camera on and this and that. And when they said, all right, time for everybody to go back to school, it was like a nightmare for these kids because of the fact that it was like, holy cow, now I got to go back to everything that I'm so glad we got away from. And so that was the big fight for us. The fight was to save the virtual program for these kids that really need that safe place. These kids was really, really hurting hard as far as the anxiety was up and all of this because they knew they had to go back into that brick and mortar. And it was going to be that same old chaos that they had before COVID. So I know there's a lot of opinion on that one. So I'm not going to go back and forth, but there's a lot of opinion. Yeah. But I had to hear it from the kids' point of view of why they needed it. Not so much why, I need to be around people and you need to have that, getting around others and interacting and this and that. But if the people you're interacting with are abusing you, and all you're telling me is that's going to make me better to be around my abuser, it makes zero sense. And these were coming from kids. And I was like, wow, I have to hear you. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you loud and clear. So anyway, that was me. That was story time. That was one of my situations. So now you're on the big stage. You're a community theater.
Yeah.
Oh, you're singing, dancing. What was you doing?
Okay, not a singer. Oh gosh, no. But yeah, so I saw this ad on Facebook when I was in Lubbock, and they were auditioning for Real Women Have Curves, and it's a Hispanic women's, led. It's a movie too, but also a stage production. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to go out there and do it. And that was the hardest work I've ever done. You have to memorize so much. I was the mother role. There's 4 of us on stage, and I was the mother role. And so not only did I have to learn the majority of the lines, but I also had to learn Spanish, and I'm not fluent in Spanish. So it was challenging emotionally and just mentally, but it was so much fun because I got to show a little bit of my humor and personality through that. So I embraced my grandmother, channeled her for this, and just all of the typical Hispanic things that you would think, and got to make it fun and funny. And I like it now. So, anytime I get a chance to audition, I'll go out and audition. It's fun.
Okay. Right, so wait a minute. I'm gonna let you go in a second, Walker. I'm blown away right
now.
No,
I'm listening. I'm
the learning Spanish part. So
I already see your face.
Are you now speaking Spanish? You can speak Spanish fluent now because of this?
So no.
Oh, okay.
But I can read and write it, and I learned Spanish like many of our students do, and that's through school. So my parents spoke Spanish in the house, but it was kind of their secret language. So I grew up listening to it and hearing it, and I became familiar with some of the things but I was never taught how to speak it and carry conversation. So I went through school, tried learning it that way, and I never stuck. But I can read and I can write it. So when I was able to read the lines, then I just had to memorize them. I understood what I was saying afterwards, but I just had to memorize them. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow. All right. Well, I know it's like it's beaming. What you got, man?
Oh no, she just answered it. She just answered
Okay.
it for me. Yeah, she
Yeah.
just answered it. And yeah. I mean, I've been in a play or two, and it's pretty cool because like I like going to plays. I like live theater. I like theater. When you see it, like you don't realize how much work goes into that
It's true.
because it's like doing this podcast. There are no do-overs. I mean, you have to figure it out and kind of when you mess up, it's like being on a podcast. If you mess up, you still know more than the audience. So if you don't act like you messed up, nobody really knows that you just totally just flubbed the line or tripped up or whatever, But everything is so interconnected and you're dependent on one another. So it's kind of like wow, So I salute you for that because but I think you would do good. I think I'm looking for you on off Broadway, and then we'll look for you on Broadway in about another 5-10 years. How about that?
That sounds wonderful.
That sounds wonderful. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I'm like wow. I mean, your face lit up when you said it. When you mentioned it, your face lit up. So I could tell that's another thing that you're passionate about. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Which is good. That is cool. That
Yeah.
really is cool.
That's
So
pretty
now
cool.
tell us how to get in touch with you. So do you do any, if I'm trying to find your podcast, I'm trying to find your, excuse me, I need you as a friend. I need to talk to you because I got some things going on. Is there a way to reach out to you? I want to get your book when it's out there. So we got to find, where are you located on social media world?
Yeah. So I'm on pretty much all the platforms and I keep it pretty simple. Angelina Mojica. You can find me. I have my website, angelinamojica.com. I'm on YouTube, Good Morning Minute. TikTok, I do the TikTok. So I'm also there as well. But it's Angelina Mojica and all of those, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, all of the things.
All right. All right. So we'll make sure we have all your information in the chat. And I'm seeing it now popping up in the chat now. So Boss B is back there doing her thing. 100%. Everyone should have a B.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody should have a B.
Has
and
to,
I'm
yeah,
glad
yeah.
that the universe has a B because she is awesome. 100%. So
I think
we
B
thank
needs
you.
a B.
B needs a B. Yeah, that's right. B
needs
needs a B. Yeah, we have to get a B for B. 100%. So look, it's hard to believe we're already at the hour mark, and I've had a good time hanging out with you, Angelina, and definitely this has been wonderful. Is there anything that we didn't hit that you said, man, you really need to know this about me, about what I'm about? Because I don't want anything, no stone not to be turned. So like say unturned, so we're going to have to turn them all. So is there anything you want to share with the people before we close out the show today?
Yeah, sure. So I have a virtual conference, Empower Her Steps conference, that will be released June the 20th. So, it's going to be pre-recorded. So just if you catch it out there, just like, share. I would love that. And then if you are interested, I do have a 30-day devotional that it's inspired by my story, but also the Good Morning Minute. And that's on Amazon as well. So it's called Empower Her Steps. Yes.
So it's called Empower Her Steps, and we can find that on Amazon.
Yes.
All right. So you're writing a book, but you already got a devotional out there.
I've got a devotional, and I've also got a teen mental health workbook as well on Amazon.
Okay. All right. All right. Wow, man. Yeah, you're right, Walt. Bandcamp don't sound like they exciting anymore.
Yeah. Hey, man, I still have my 6th grade spelling champ certificate on the refrigerator, man. That's it. That's pretty much it.
That's it. That's it.
Pretty much it, man.
Well, look, Angela, we definitely thank you for being a guest on the Iron Sharpening Iron show today. We thank you for sharing your insight and sharing your wisdom as far as how we can start to love ourselves and heal through start in a relationship. So that was one of the cool things. And then just breaking down the HER 100% with that too. And now I'm going to ask you this before we close out, because I know we got a couple of seconds. is it just for women? So if a man is hurting, he just hurting? Is that how it works?
No, we just leave them there. No, definitely. I've worked with women and men in all kinds of capacities. So yeah, nobody goes unturned, or at least not pointed in a direction for their healing journeys. I definitely can connect them.
Okay, all right. I just I always think of when we have men and women on the show and they're talking about all it. I think of the Little Rascals in the clubhouse and the He-Man Women's Hater Club, and I'm like, come on, isn't that what we're about? And so I always say, is it for men and women? And most of the time I get that yes. So glad to hear that. Thank you, each and every person who is out there in YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. And we're going to see this on Instagram and TikTok, I'm sure. But no. I am not against TikTok. I just don't use it anymore. But anyway, with all that being said, we thank you for hanging out with us. We know that you have a lot of things to do in your life, and hanging out with us, we thank you for taking that time and hang with us. We ask you to continue to watch and support the Iron Sharpening Iron universe and all the shows that fall under the umbrella. We got the Ask a Bee show Monday through Friday. She's on live. And then you got the Coach's Corner, the Voices of Resilience. We got the Ladies' Diary, the Gentleman's Journal, the Battle of the Sexes, We Be Jamming Live, and of course the Iron Sharpening Iron show. And not even to miss, or even don't miss, the Grow and Glow Academy, as we're teaching people how to build their channel and work their way all the way up to hosting their own show. So we're doing a lot under the universe. I'm super excited about the universe, but I'm more excited about you being out here with us. And Angelina, you definitely made our show today. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to ask you to stay back as we close out, and we'll talk to you behind the stage. But for everyone out there, we actually have a blessed week. We talk to you later. And until then, peace.
Bye-bye. Nice meeting you, Angelina. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure.